All right. So while leading this discussion, I will have to sit down, listen to you. So you listen, we will listen together and learn from each other. All right. Okay. So we are starting this executive certificate course in strategic leadership and innovation management, with the first course, which is foundations of strategic leadership. And we are looking at it from vision to measurable impact. Vision to measurable impact. So let's begin with the question or the first discussion of what is your view of leadership? How will you view leadership? You can just raise your hand and then we'll just unmute and go ahead. Please, what's your view of leadership? Every one of us on this call, in this class, is a leader. So what's your view of leadership? What's your view of leadership? Can we have someone who will share his own view or her own view of leadership? Okay, please kindly confirm that you can still hear me loud and clear. If you can hear me loud and clear, please type 11 in the chat room. If you can hear me loud and clear, please type 11 in the chat room. If you can hear me loud and clear, kindly type 11 in the chat room. If you can hear me loud and clear, all right. So you can hear me loud and clear. All right, thank you so much. So what's your view of leadership? You have been an assistant director, you have been a deputy director, you have been a director, you have been a senior officer. So what's your view of leadership? What's your view of leadership? You have people under you, you have people you are under. Folashade Ayodeji, please feel free to unmute. Let's hear from you, ma. Thank you so much for taking the horn by the bull.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, ma.
Yes. I see leadership as an opportunity to serve. I see it as a responsibility to influence, inspire, and empower others. It's an opportunity for you to share your vision and to also direct. It's an opportunity to learn and also influence people. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mrs. Folashade Ayodeji. I would have actually said, I when I saw your name, I thought it was a Folashade Eshan, the former head of service. What do you call it? The former head of service. So her name was Folashade. All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Now you've said some.
All right. Okay. All right.
Sorry, I didn't get that. Come again, please. Mrs. Folashade, you were trying to add some.
Yes. Yes. No, I was just saying that I'm from the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau, NSIB.
Oh,
Yes.
my people, you're welcome.
Thank
You're highly
you.
welcome. All right.
God bless you.
Okay. Yep. All right. So let's hear from Wamaka, the person from Rivers. Mrs. Wamaka, kindly unmute. Let's hear from you.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, we can hear
Can I
you.
be heard?
Yes, we can hear you, ma'am.
Okay, thank
Yes,
you
you can
very
be
much.
heard. Go ahead.
Once again, good morning, everyone and fellow participants. So, my own perception about leadership from my own point of view, I could say that leadership means influencing and motivating people around you or people you are working with to work for a common goal to achieve a better and positive result. So that's my own view of leadership. Thank you. Influencing and motivating people.
Thank you so much.
To work
Thank
for
you
a
so much.
common goal. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Missy Wamaka. All right, we have Dr. Godwin Odido Iyake. Please, Mr. Godwin, kindly let's hear from you.
Okay. Yeah, my own perception of leadership is that anybody who is being saddled with a responsibility of leading others, you are giving directives to others. You show them the pathway of how to achieve either organizational goal or at whatever level you find yourself heading people. So you are like their mentor who is showing them the pathway to achieve whatever you must have agreed that is your own major objective or goals. So a leader is that kind of person who is not just to dish out order, but to follow it correctly to make sure that those who are following him, the followers, will actually do what is expected of them, not by coercion or compulsion, but maybe by your own exemplary kind of life. It will guide others that, look, they are expected at any point in time to do a particular thing without even being told that you have to do this, do that. So that is my own point of view of what leadership is all about. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. All right. Do I have another person who would like to share a view? We have 4 more hands up. Okay. Rachel Edeki. Rachel Edeki, please feel free to unmute. Let's hear from you.
Hello, sir.
Yes, go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. My own view of leadership is the process. Leadership is a process, and having an ability to be able to impact on those around you. And it's in the course of a particular achievement you want to have a positive result in. And if the set goal is being achieved, then you have a positive leadership because you have already impacted on them and they have gotten to understand every of the lines you've put across to them. That's my own point of view. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, let's hear from Mr. Suleiman. Mr. Suleiman, yeah.
Yes, my own view has to do with leadership is the ability to guide, those who you have been given the responsibility to lead, and a leader must have integrity. He must be honest and fair, and in that regard, he must have that ability to guide in order to achieve the set goals with a particular organization or an entity or a state. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yaya. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, let's hear from Mrs. Ladi Gillian Aqua. Ladi, please, if you can hear me or mute, let's hear from you, please. Ladi, can you hear me? Okay, so if Ladi is not currently available, Ladi,
I can hear
okay, please, okay, go ahead.
Okay, so we say leadership is the aspect of management that is concerned with inspiring, motivating, and influencing employees. At this level, all of us on this training are leaders, everyone in his own right. So leadership is concerned with inspiring your employees, motivating your employees and influencing them to be able to achieve your organizational goals efficiently and effectively. Efficiently in the sense that you achieve your results efficiently is at the least cost, and efficiently is to be effective, to have results, so you are achieving your results. You're encouraging your workers to be able to achieve the reason for setting up an organization, or the reason why they're part of the bigger picture.
Yeah. Okay.
So
thank you so much.
Leadership.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's from Mrs. Ladi.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your views on this subject matter. All right. Now, we have talked of what your view is on leadership. So when do we say a leadership, when we say that leadership is strategic, at what point do we say we have moved from the normal leadership to now looking at it as a strategic ordinance? So at what point is leadership said to be strategic in your own view? In your own view, at what point is leadership said to be strategic? Please, let's also feel free to share. Yes, Ladi, please feel free.
Okay, so leadership is strategic at the highest level of management.
Okay.
When strategy refers to an organization's competitive edge of being the most effective in your industry.
Yeah.
So your strategy is how your organization intends to achieve its effects to be the top of the group of the industry. So when you say strategic leadership, you're talking about the people who make the decision at the highest level, organ of at the highest level of that organization.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Ladi. This is awesome. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Okay, let's hear from Mr. Raphael. Mr. Raf, Amal,
okay,
Mr. Raf,
yeah.
please. Can you let's hear from you, sir?
Can you hear me?
Yes, please. Go ahead, sir. Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay. The points where we can see that leadership is strategic is when it sets direction and anticipates the future, and when all these things align with the organization or the set goal of that organization, when they ensure that there are changes and they align to those changes and also ensure sustainable performance, we say that that leadership is strategic. Can you get me? Yeah.
Yes, I got you perfect. I got you perfectly. Thank you so much.
All right. My own view. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, my own view of what leadership is all about. It is responsibility wrapped in authority. You can give somebody responsibility without authority, there's no leadership. But when there is authority, a small person can be leading a senior because of that word, authority. And that is where leadership comes in.
Great. That is amazing. All right. I have another hand. Ify Iro Ebulam, please feel free to share your thoughts. Ify Iro Ebulam, please feel free to share.
This is Dr. Ifnaya Ebulam. I've changed it from VTU to this.
Okay.
I have to change my email. So talking of strategic leadership being strategic, I believe, from my own opinion, it means visionary leadership. Visionary leadership. It means planning and executing effectively. It means positive influencing of others. It means innovation, bringing innovation into the game plan. And it means taking bold decisions that will drive the organization forward. In fact, it is intentional positive leadership. That is what I believe strategic leadership is. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Ife, for sharing your beautiful thoughts. Okay, so while we are taking the questions or taking the discussions from the Google Meet, please, those of us that are also on the YouTube, feel free to also share your thoughts. I will be there to read it out shortly. And of course, if you're on the YouTube, the first thing you do as soon as you come in is to like the discussion and then drop your comment in the comment sections. Thank you so much, Dr. Ife, for sharing your beautiful thoughts on this matter. Okay, so I have Dr. Folashade. I hope I'm correct. Dr. Folashade, please kindly omit. Let's hear from you.
All right, thank you very much. Leadership becomes strategic. At that point where the leader moves from managing activities to shaping the organization's future. For me, strategic leadership is also evident when the leader encourages new ideas, challenges old ways of working, and builds systems that support innovation. I also feel that leadership becomes strategic when it involves aligning people, training, processes, and with the organization's long-term objectives. Thank you. I still have a lot of things to say, but it's okay. Thank you very much. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please. Yes, please. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Folashade. And please always feel free to share as many things that are within your within what you want to share. Okay, thank you. Okay, so finally, let's hear from Mr. Adekunle Oladipo.
Okay, thank you very much once again. I believe leadership becomes visionary. When it's visionary, it becomes strategic. When it's a long-term thinking, when it's proactive, not reactive. That is what I see as a strategic leadership. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much to everyone that have added their knowledge to this learning. It has been wonderful. Remember, I said it's just going to be discussion. All of us are directors at some level, either you are AD, DD, or director itself. So at some point or the other, you've attended one leadership course or another. So we are not here to define what leadership is or what leadership is not, but it's just to refine our thoughts and then begin to look at leadership strategically. Okay, begin to look at, just as we see on the screen, from vision to measurable impact. From the much that has been said, the first person that spoke today said leadership is about service, leadership is about shared vision, leadership is about influencing. Another person added that leadership has to do with influencing and motivating people to achieve goals. Another person added that leadership is responsibility wrapped with authority. Another person noted that leadership is an aspect of management, and strategic leadership has to do with leadership at the highest level of the organization. That's the top management involvement in the leadership of the organization is considered as strategic. Another person thought that strategic leadership has to do with setting direction to arrive at the future, and also having a framework for sustainability, having a framework of sustainability, and I really appreciated that. Another person spoke about leadership being about, strategic leadership being about visionary. It has to be visionary for us to consider it as strategic, all right? And then also noted that it is about innovations that will bring about transformation. It's about taking making bold decisions that will bring about transformations. It's about challenging the old ways so as to create the new ways, and intentional positive leadership. Okay, so strategic leadership is intentional and positive. And another person noted that strategic leadership is proactive, not reactive. proactive, not reactive. Beautiful, beautiful things that have been said from leadership perspective. Now, if we move on from here, please feel free to use the Zoom function on your screen to zoom into what we are discussing. Okay. Now, before I move on to why leadership now, discussing some of the things that are leading to leadership, the essence of strategic leadership, in simple terms, if we are to define strategic leadership, it's about leading with a strategy. Can you please write that down? Strategic leadership is just leading with a strategy. And I'm going to say something that might shock you. I'm going to say something that might shock you, all right? Strategic leadership does not guarantee success. You can as well note that. Strategic leadership does not guarantee success. And I'm going to explain all of this so that we can begin to understand which kind of leadership that actually brings success. Okay? Just the way leadership on its own does not automatically bring success, there is a form of leadership within the leadership frameworks that guarantees success. In the same vein, strategic leadership by default does not give birth to success. Okay? All right, that's number two thing I want you to note. The first thing I said is that strategic leadership is leading with strategy. Leading with strategy. Can we all please put that in the chat room? Leading with strategy. Strategic leadership is leading with strategy. Can we put that in the chat room? Let's just put that in the chat room. Leading with strategy. That's strategic leadership. And then strategic leadership does not guarantee success on its own. It doesn't guarantee success. So we're going to find out what are the elements, what are the embedments of strategic leadership that guarantee success. Now, thank you so much for putting that in the comment section. Now, one thing I will also want us to note is that when we say the word strategy is a very big word. Just like many of us have noted today, that for us to consider leadership to be strategy, then it has to be based on strategy. But should I tell you something? The quality of leadership is a function of the quality of persons making that strategy. Did you get that? I want you to understand why strategic leadership does not automatically equate to success. It is the quality of people involved in making the strategy that will determine the output, the outcome, the impact of that result, the outcome of that strategy. Did you get that? I'm going to give you a second to meditate on what I just said now so you understand it. All right, so that is who do I have in this class? Rafael Obina. Are you a mathematician? So we are going to have a mathematical dimension to this class. After we are done, we are going to call Mr. Rafael Obina to lead us on the quadratic equations and the differentiations in this leadership. Okay, but that's beautiful. If that will help you to understand what I'm saying, why not? So strategic leadership is proactive. That's correct. Strategic leadership is visionary. That's correct. Strategic leadership is top management based. That's correct. Strategic leadership is taking bold decisions that will take you to the future. That's correct. Strategic leadership is about setting the big goals, setting the big visions. That's correct. But always remember that no matter what we do around strategic leadership, it is the quality of the people involved that will determine the quality of the strategy. And it is the quality of the strategy that will determine the quality of results. So I don't know how Dr. Obina will now put it. All right. So with that in place, having that basic understanding. It then automatically tells us that strategic leadership is not a guarantee to success. However, it is the quality of the people. Somebody said she would like to have a good understanding of how this will help her manage people better. So it is not the title that makes people strategic. It is not the role that makes people strategic. Rather, it is the quality of people. And let me say this, it is not your academic records. It is not your experience. It is not just on experience. It is not on certification. It is a function of how you have been able to put your mind to use. It is how we have been able to put our mind to use. Strategic leadership is successful basically on a function of the quality of perception and perspective of the people involved. The quality, how are we perceiving? Remember, somebody said it's about setting the direction to arrive at the future. The future that the leader is seeing, yes, we've had a course to set a future, but that future does not guarantee a success. In that you saw a future does not guarantee a success. Okay, that doesn't. Okay, but there is something I would like us to pick. That definition that talked about being intentional and being purposeful on driving positive impacts. I will repeat this again. That leadership that is, number one, intentional, that is purposeful on driving positive impacts on a long run. Starting from where you are, you're seeing the future and you're drafting propositions to have the best of the future. Okay, so strategic leadership is the ability of a leader to set clear vision, make long-term decisions, guide an organization towards achieving its goals in a changing environment. All right, that's beautiful. Now, every one of us here, every one of us, being a leader, we are faced with the responsibility of setting strategic goals. You have 4-year term, you have 8 years term, you as an AD, you have 4 years. Maybe before you move to your next level, you have 4 years before you move to your next level. As a DD, you have minimum 4 years and up to 8 years before you exit as a director. So what is strategic leadership to you? Are you intentional? Are you purposeful on driving positive impacts with long-term objectives within your department, within your unit, within your agency, within your ministry, within your department? That's the question. So at this point, we are not just talking about you telling somebody what to do part-time or giving guidance. No, we've moved beyond that level, as it were now. Our responsibility now goes to the point of what future am I seeing for this unit? Positive, intentional, purposeful, long-lasting impact driven purpose that will safeguard this institution in the next 50 years, in the next 20 years, in the next 30 years. What impacts? At this point, we are moving from saying he is my Oga, she is my madam, and we are talking about legacies that will be laid. We are looking at building legacies. Building legacies. When you leave the department you are right now and move to another department, what will you be remembered for? What sustainability? What will be the inclusion? What will be the impact? All right, so that's what we're looking at in strike, moving from just leading people traditionally to leading people to a future where they will be secured, where they will have a better life, have possibilities of maximum impact, living their life to the fullest. The time we were discussing human resource management, we'll spend a lot of time talking to our leaders on how you can discover the talents within your organization. Okay, you know, some of us directors still feel like, after all, I'm not the one that employed you. Anything you want to do with your life. That is not strategic leadership. In fact, that's not even leadership at all. Much more strategic leadership. Okay, I've been talking to this young man since I came to this department, but he has refused to turn a leaf. And some of us, because they refuse to turn a leaf, we finally decide to pluck off the leaf. Okay, so there is high responsibility on us to see beyond the cover and begin to dig deep, from individual levels to departmental levels, to unit levels, to organizational level, to national levels. Okay, this is very, very important for each and every one of us to have at the back of our minds. Now, that being said, permit me to also say this, that every organization that is thriving today is thriving based on their strategy. Okay, and strategy is a major determinant and a major carrier of the organizational embodiment. That's what we call the corporate strategy. When you have access to a corporate strategy, in some of us MDAs, we have what we call our mandate. Inside our mandate, we have our vision, we have our mission, we have our expected core values, we have our target audience or the people we are expected to serve. Inside our mandate, we are provided with a structure. We are provided with the scope of what we are to do. That provides you more of a corporate level strategy. So your strategy first drives from the corporate level. And that is in agreement with the person that emphasized that strategy is a high level document. Strategy is a high level. It is the top level management or the top level leadership of an organization that determines strategy. So inside your strategy, you have vision, you have mission, you have your core values, you have your goals, you have your objectives, you have your key result areas, you have your KPIs, your key performance indicators, and then you have your drivers, your strategy drivers. And every one of us at the levels we are, by the end of this class, remember that we are supposed to have developed strategic leadership competence. So what this means is, by the end of this section, you and I would have been able to sit down and begin to look at our own personal leadership framework now within our own space and ask the question of, are we working in line with the vision of this department? Are we working in line with the vision of this ministry, of this department, of this agency? Are we? That's why I said that strategic leadership does not guarantee success. Somebody can be in a department, and because he or she is not in tandem, in agreement with maybe other directors or other management staff, he or she decides to pull a strategy or pull out a plan of which is going to lead his or her own department or unit or team. But that approach is not in tandem with the vision, with the mission, with the core objectives of that same organization. So we have a unit that has a strategic leader, but that strategy is not in alignment with the corporate strategy. That is not going to lead to anywhere near success. Also, let us have this understanding that strategy is principally a mindset thing that rubs up on behavior. Leadership is primarily a mindset that rubs off on behavior. That is to say that leadership is leadership because there is a behavior that influences, that motivates, that inspires, that guides people in a certain way. And that is why when Mr. Yahaya spoke today, he said, apart from the other things concerned with leadership, a leader must be a person of integrity. That is a criteria. And if I should talk about integrity, is also a whole lot of things to discuss. But like I said, there are a whole lot of leadership trainings all of us might have gone through, and I'm sure we would have discussed these basic tenets of leadership. Now, let me say this, that when or across different organizations, There is always deviance in leadership. Deviance. That's deviations in leadership. This person is this person is maybe so passionate. My director is not doing this thing the way I want him to do it. So can I motivate the people within my unit to begin to act in certain ways? And when they begin to act in ways that they are no longer exemplary towards achievement of the departmental goal, of the agency goal, of the ministry goal, of the government goal, then that leadership, no matter how strategic it is moving the organization towards retardation. And that's why we tell in leadership that no matter how fast and how far you travel in the wrong direction, you will never get to the right point. Okay? No matter how fast and how far you travel in the wrong direction, you will never get to the right place. So if we pick strategy from the top, and the top management have established to us what vision is, what mission is, what goals and objectives are, and then it begins to trickle down. It begins to come down one after the other. Now, with that, the question now is, what is a vision? What is a mission? What is purpose? What is goal? What is objective? Because these are the basic foundations of strategic leadership. Whether it is in the right direction or it's in the wrong direction, for any leadership to be considered strategic, there must be vision. There must be mission. There must be core values, or what we call philosophies, or what we call behavioral expectations that will give birth to the vision. There must be goals and objectives. There must be key drivers. If you look at that framework of FCIP, irrespective of the pillars of FCIP, at the base, you will see the drivers, of which leadership is one. The first one, leadership. The first one, leadership. Okay, so when you take a look at strategy, you begin to break it down: vision, mission, core values, goals and objectives, and then everybody begins to take part of it. Vision is to everybody. Mission is to everybody. Goals and objective is to everybody, but we begin to break them down into different departments that will help in performing different operational responsibilities, technical and tactical responsibilities, to give a cumulative effect of that vision. All right? Okay. Now, that being said, strategic leadership is imperative, is important because of change. Change. You know change? Without change, we will not have need of strategic leadership. Without continuous evolution, we won't have need of strategic leadership. Without having a future in mind, a future that is not where we are, okay, a future that is possibly better than where we are, there will be no need of strategic leadership. So strategic leadership hinges on management of change, as someone said, effectively and efficiently. Strategic leadership, remember I said, it is leading with strategy, and inside strategy you have vision, mission, core values or philosophy, core objectives, goals, and all of those things inside. All right, then you have your key drivers. All right, now I'm saying that leadership, strategic leadership, is the effective and efficient management of change. And to be able to effectively and efficiently manage the change, strategy comes into play. Strategy comes into play. So no matter the change we want to drive, there must be an alignment with strategy. And no matter the strategy we want to adopt, whether at unit level, at individual level, at departmental level, agency level, ministerial level, or national level, there must be an alignment with national reform agenda, with national plans. Very, very important. Very, very obvious and important. All right. So if you must be a strategic leader, you must be change driven. I think it's Dr. Ifi that says is about strategic leadership is about taking bold decisions to have a new phase, or to drive innovation and creativity, which is beautiful. All right, beautiful. All right. Okay. So, what is the consideration of change in the dispensation we are? The consideration of what we call change today is change is characterized by what we consider the VUCA world. VUCA. There's what we call VUCA environment. VUCA environment. So change today is embedded in VUCA environment. I'm putting that in the chat room. VUCA. And I'm sure this is not your first time of hearing the word VUCA, all right? So we have VUCA, and we've also moved from VUCA to VUCA-D. Okay, so the current concept is called VUCA-D. All right. Now, VUCA has to deal with volatility. That means we are continuously faced with changes that are volatile. Before you try to understand how change A is occurring, the new phase of change A will come up. You will see change B. You will see change. So it is highly volatile. Then you have change. You have U in the description of change. That is uncertainty. Uncertainty. We are in an environment filled with uncertainty. Last Saturday, I decided to go to the market to help buy rice for my wife or for the family. And when I got to the market, I bought a bag of rice for 58,000, and I was so surprised because I know I've bought rice for. There was a time we bought rice for 100,000, 120,000, 140,000. Okay, so when I went to buy that rice, and I think the last one they used was around 95,000. So when I went back on Saturday and they said it was 58,000, I was trying to be sure whether it was rice or something else. But that is to talk about the uncertainty, market velocity. You cannot predict it. You don't predict the political, you don't predict the economic, you don't predict the socio-cultural, you don't predict the technical or technological, you don't predict the legal, and you can never predict the environmental. So when you look at the composition of the environment, what we call the PESTO, political, economic, socio-cultural, technological, legal, and economic, or perhaps environmental, the uncertainties in each domain of this of the environment, the uncertainties are high. The uncertainties are high. So we are living in a world of probability. So in strategy, we must have frameworks that can help us to predict, to forecast, to estimate. We must have frameworks, strategic frameworks that will help us to predict, to forecast matters. Then from the uncertainty domain, you now have the complex domain. Yes, these changes come with complexities. They come with complexities. Every now and then there is one policy introduction. Maybe 10 years ago, or maybe about 7-10 years ago, nobody talked about more of FSIP. Nobody talked about more of professionalization. 7-10 years ago, nobody talked about digital transformation. Nobody was so keen on artificial intelligence. But today, whether we like it or not, there are things that have come to stay. And no matter how complex they are, we must subject ourselves to learning them and bringing them to bear. And of course, one thing we understand about strategic leadership is that a strategic leader is an exemplary leader. So the people see the future through you. The people you're leading, they see the future through you, the leader. That's exemplary leadership. Now, from the complex aspect of change management, you now look at the ambiguity, ambiguous, making understanding, tampering with the understanding of people involved in this whole change. I do not see the reason why this should be, because there is an ambiguous domain to change. There is an ambiguous domain to change. So as a strategic leader, you must begin to view view change from the angle of the VUCA world. Expect volatility. Expect the radical and frequent evolution of change. Expect it. Expect uncertainty even as the change goes by. Remember I said, your essence is to master strategic tools that can help you predict, can help you forecast, and can help you estimate what change could bring. Why that is a necessity, and also placing you as a proactive strategic leader, is important also that change, leading change, and being strategic in leadership means being open-minded. And that brings us to the aspect of diversity and inclusion. That's the VUCA, diversity and inclusion. Diversity and inclusion. Nigeria is a hot nation. There are topics you don't just speak of, or you may want to keep them aside. But as a strategic leader, you must know that your assignment transverses beyond your tribe, it transverses beyond your ethnicity, it transverses beyond your religion, it transverses beyond your personal beliefs, it transverses beyond your culture. A strategic leader must be open to new perspectives, must be open to new perceptions, must be open to accepting everybody as one. The opportunities must be open to all. The initiative must be open to all. The leadership must be directed to all. And among other things, you mustn't in any way introduce things that will hamper your strategic initiative. Remember, don't forget this foundational statement, that it is the quality of the people that determines the quality of the strategy. And it is the quality of the strategy upon execution that determines the quality of the impact. We cannot run away from this. So if you must be a strategic leader, you must be open-minded. You must be ready to take in new things. You must be ready to see beyond the limitations that have hindered others from uniting, from working in line with the vision. I've said this over and over again, and I won't stop saying it until we have leadership at the national level that will give us a nation and not a country. Nigeria is a country, but not yet a nation. What defines a country is that they are sovereign. But nation moves beyond sovereignty to begin to have matters of vision as a country, begin to have matters of general interest as a nation. Can we categorically say we have succession in Nigeria? Can we categorically say we have sustainable leadership in Nigeria? Can we categorically say we have visionary leadership in Nigeria? I may not answer for others, but if you ask me, I would say in simple terms, no. What we have is people coming with different views at different points of leadership. So different administrations, different views. Starting from the House of Assembly down to the executive, okay, everybody have their own views of leadership. When I go there, this is what I will do. But do we have a national agenda? Yes, we have it written on paper. Do we really progress with that? Can we ask ourselves what the vision of Nigeria? In the last class where I had the privilege to discuss on matters of digital transformation, and one of the things that digital transformation does is making leadership easy. And I said something. I said, the way we used to have the announcement of this is the volume of debt we are going to be taking. This is the volume of budget we are handling as a country per year. Can we, without bias, have a digitalized framework, just the way we have Nigerian stock market? Okay, the way we have Nigerian stock market, you see everything on the screen. There is no. Can we have a system that is digitalized, that every expense will be tracked? We don't need to go back and start calculating how did this happen, and then we try to see, is there something that is not meeting up with something? Can we have a system that presents transparency without any loophole? Is it possible? Because that's the promise of that's one of the promises of digital transformation. That we allocated 500,000, and then we did not just say we allocated 500,000. We are seeing the bottom-up dimension of how that 500,000 went. So today, this is approved for this, and we are seeing the impact. Not that it is approved, but this money was released for this, and this is the work, and this is the expected quality. And we have monetary evaluation experts who are reviewing and tracking the performance of that budget without any bias. Can we have that? Now, sometimes when I talk like this, people tend to misunderstand me. But this is strategic leadership, right? This is strategic leadership. We are building a foundation of putting ourselves on the scale and rethinking the whole process called leadership, and also redefining what leadership is, especially in terms of being positively intentional, positively impactful, and also having a positive long-term return, positive sustainability in all of what we are driving. Okay, so as a strategic leader, diversity, inclusion need to be there. The day Nigerian leadership, and all of us in Nigerian leadership, because all of us are involved, okay, the day we begin to treat change in terms of using the VUCA model, we'll be better off at the things we do. We'll be better off in becoming a nation rather than fighting to keep a country. We'll be better off in having the best part of ourselves. Because what some of us have become as leaders is that we become defensive rather than being on the proactive side of getting good results. We are on the defense. We defend, we defend, we defend, we defend, we defend, we defend. Okay, so this is very, very important. I've talked about strategic leadership being about what? Effective and efficient management of change. And I've talked about for this change to really answer to its core, that we must have the VUCA model, helping us to understand the volatile nature of change, the uncertain nature of change, the complex nature of change, the ambiguous nature of change, the diversity and inclusive nature of change. Very, very important. Very, very important. And I also mentioned that why we look at this VUCA environment, we also try to run it on the basis of understanding the different domains that exist in the environment. So we have the political domain, we have the economic domain, we have the sociocultural domain, we have the technological domain, we have the legal domain, and we have the environmental domain. So as a leader, what would be your strategy in managing the political domain? Because whether we like it or not, all of us are affected by the political domain of our environment. Every one of us. Every one of us. And of course, you understand that there is leadership at, politics at all levels. Okay, there is politics at all levels. So the politics I'm talking about is not just the one organized by INEC. It's not just the campaigns and the elections and the likes. No, actually, when it comes to politics, somebody mentioned about influencing and motivating people to achieve goals. That is actually the definition of politics. Okay, the other things that we play around with are the tools that we use to achieve politics. So election is a tool, campaign is a tool. Okay, but primarily politics is getting people on your side through influencing. Some will manipulate, some will influence, some will motivate, some will inspire, but there are different levels to politics. So in our different organizations, there's politics playing on. In our units, politics playing on. And many other things playing around there. And we cannot run away from politics, because politics is a social aspect of life, and man is a social being. You can't run away from politics. And it is good people running away from politics that have made politics on the large scale look as though it's a negative thing, is a bad thing. Politics is never a bad thing. All of us play politics. You played politics to get a wife. I played politics to get a wife. You played politics to get a husband. I played politics. So all of us play politics. In our homes, we have our children playing politics on us, and we also have ourselves playing politics on our children. So that word politics is not a wrong word. It's not a bad word. It is your nature as a man. It is your nature as a woman to be political. Okay, but remember that strategic leadership does not guarantee success. Just in the same vein, in the world of politics, politics on its own is good. It's a good thing that anybody would like to do. But there is a positive route to politics, and there is a negative route to politics. Okay, and unfortunately, we've had an environment where the negative route seems to be speaking louder than the positive route. So many people have been psychologically worried and went out believing that politics is wrong. No, politics is not wrong. Okay, politics is not wrong. From the mosques, from the churches, from the everywhere you go to, because you are a social being, anybody that ever loves attention, of which everybody does, everybody seeks attention, everybody seeks praise, everybody seeks recognition. For the fact that you're looking at those social rewards, then you are a political being. For the fact that you have ambition, you have goals, and you need people to achieve those goals with you, you are a politician, just at a different scale. So when we begin to look at how politics plays in our environment, whether it is our internal environment or our external environment, then we begin to reprogram ourselves to fit into or to bring a change in that political landscape. Secondly, you have the economic domain. Nigeria is heavily considered as a consuming country, a consumption country. And psychologically too, most of us have been brought to that landscape of all we need to do is to make money and then spend on goods and services, especially the imported ones. We love foreign things. Okay. So can we have a leadership that can encourage otherwise? I'm not saying that we cannot live on consumption, but can we have a leadership that can boost other aspects of the economy? Can we have a leadership, whether we like it or not? National leadership has effect on national leadership has the same effect on economic variables, the inflation rate, the price of goods and services, demand and supply, and all of those things. Leadership has effect. And then you begin to look at the socio-cultural aspect, the ethnic groups, the churches, the mosques, the African religion, and many others. Can we have an environment where everyone is integrated with peace and with unity of purpose? Can we? From the socio-cultural domain, in fact, most of the clashes in Nigeria today, communal clashes, tribal clashes, or in fact, the clashes have climaxed to national concerns. These clashes have climaxed to national concerns. One of the major issues spanning insecurity in Nigeria is the matter of socio-cultural differences. Socio-cultural differences. Socio-cultural. We discuss these things as though they are English language, but the impacts on this country today, as a nation, we are trying to pull our head out from these impacts, these changes, these things. If you consider, for those of us that are aged enough, yes, we knew Nigeria had battles 50 years ago, but you can't compare the insecurity 50 years ago to the insecurity of today. And then when you begin to look at it, politically motivated, yes. Socio-culturally motivated, yes. And then we also have technical or technological domain to all of these things, because when you begin to see matter, somebody sent me a message the other day on cybersecurity, and it was a news that a particular group of hackers are launching cyber attacks on 30 organizations, and government bodies are inclusive. That is technological advancement. Okay, that's technological advancement. Okay, that's technological advancement. And then we'll begin to look at the legal. There is consistent change in the legal. So all of these things, we must understand the basics for strategic leadership, okay, before we begin to drive. So all those market velocity, complexity, and execution risk, they all add to matters of strategic leadership. And what this simply means is that each and every one of us by now should begin to look beyond our current realities and begin to ask ourselves questions of possibilities, questions of if there's a tool we call it SWOT analysis. SWOT, strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Now, this is an advanced class, right? So, like I said earlier, somehow we perceive that having come to the point of where you are in your career, you must have undergone different leadership trainings. Okay, so some of the things I will mention, I may not go deep into explaining them, because for you to come to this point, I believe, and we believe, that you must have gone through certain foundational and even advanced leadership courses. Okay, so this is to add to that knowledge. Now, when you do SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, at this level you are, one of your basic tools should be SWOT template. Okay, SWOT template. In my organization, what are our strengths as towards achieving national goals? What are the mandates? What's our vision, our goals, objectives, mission? What's the strategy? What could be our weaknesses? What could be the opportunities? What could be the threats? These things need to be taken care of. Now, why leadership now? Strengthen leadership clarity and operating rhythm to accelerate decisions and protect growth. Growth in terms of there is faster external change, there is shorter product cycles, digital disruptions, and then increased decision velocity and ambiguity. Whether it is in the public sector or it is in the private sector, we have shorter product or service cycles. We have a generation now that is increasingly growing impatient. Increasingly growing impatient. Okay, then we have the digital disruptions. We have increase in decision velocity, and then we have ambiguity. Then on the side of rising complexity, I've talked about the VUCA. There is independent technologies and global supply chains that amplifies cross-functional trade-offs. We have independent technologies. It was the administration of our late president, Muhammad Buhari, that brought in the regulation of the social media space. Before then, there was no regulation, there was no framework. So there were independent technologies that invaded the Nigerian cyberspace, and they could do anything. They were making money. The largest population of the African nation was Nigerians. They were making money, never paying tax. They were making money, never registered in Nigeria. They were making money, never regulated from Nigeria. Okay, but these independent technologies were having autonomous control over the population of that, the main legal and environmental domains of the environment. Okay, then you have the execution risk. Execution risk. The top risks like slow decision cycles, misaligned priorities, insufficient accountability. So there is possibility that you could be considered, you could have strategic leadership, yet there could be slow decision cycles, there could be misaligned priorities, there could be insufficient accountabilities. Then you have stakes for the organization. You have delayed launches, lost market shares, higher costs, reduced employee engagement. This is why strategic leadership becomes imperative. Organizations must strengthen leadership clarity and operating rhythms to reduce ambiguity and accelerate high impact choices. Now, if we begin to do current state assessment of strengths, gaps, decision bottlenecks, what will be our view towards strategy, operations, and the people? Now, when it comes to current assessment of strategy, strategy needs to be clear, and it has to have multi-year vision. Strategy has to be clear and has multi-year vision. In terms of gap, there could be weak initiative prioritization because strategy is looking at things that will bring result, not things that will deaden the result. So weak initiatives might not be given the priority. So we need, there could be gaps of the fact that yes, there is long-term initiative that may be considered a gap. Okay, but even at that, prioritization need to be given to the right initiatives. Now, we have the bottleneck, we have the protracted executive approvals. Sometimes in the public sector, they call it the bureaucratic controls, okay, that can affect strategy. Now, we have under the operations, the strength of operations has to do with robust delivery teams. Strategy is long-term, operations is at the immediate. Strategy is what we do on the long term. Operation is what we do at the immediate. So strategy unveils operations daily. Strategy gives birth to operations daily. So if we have a vision of what we want to do in the next 25 years, there must be daily activities that we'll be doing. We'll not just fold our hands and say in the next 25 years we'll become the best performing department in the federal civil service or the best performing organization in whatever industry. No, there must be daily activities, daily operations that must be carried out to lead us there. Now, in the gap, there is inconsistent operating cadence. There could be inconsistent operating cadence. Yes, there is this saying that there is no one way to the market. The market always have multiple ways. So when you're running operations, there could be diversity of ways, different ways of trying to achieve a thing. So that could lead to inconsistency. However, to fill up this gap, we begin to talk about a standard operating procedures. Standard operating procedure. If you want to have uniformity and you want to ensure that your M&E has standardized framework, that's the monitoring and evaluation team has a standardized framework, then we must have standard operating procedures. Now, the bottlenecks here could be unclear escalation paths. Unclear escalation paths. Why we are dealing with the current state assessment is for you as an AD, as a DD, as a director, as a top level executive to know what to do per time. So at the strategy level, you must know there is multi-vision, and it is a multi-year, okay, comprised of many years. Okay, and then you must see how to put attention to prioritization in terms of the right initiative, the stronger initiative that will drive the results, and then the bureaucratic controls. There could be some digital approaches to reducing the impact of bureaucratic controls, and that's the digital transformation coming into place. They'll have the operations also clearly mentioned. Then on the people, the strength of the people when it comes to strategic leadership is that there must be experienced managers, that the gap could be limited coaching and development. In all of the sections we've taken this section, we've taken in this series, we've put up this encouragement that in the public sector and also in the private sector, there is need to have mentorship and leadership programs. And these are the right set of people that will be leading leadership programs through mentorship and coaching. As directors, as deputy directors, assistant directors, we are absolutely responsible for the performance within our departments. We are responsible for the performance of the people within our teams. So how you are able to manage them is a function of your leadership abilities, of which you can introduce coaching and mentoring to help them get better. And then you have the bottlenecks under the people, diffuse decision rights, causing rework. So we should give the right decision rights to the people. Somebody said that leadership is responsibility wrapped with authority. So where there is responsibility and there is no authority, decision will be hampered. Okay, at every level we must have authority level. At every given responsibility we must have authority level in terms of decision making. Okay. Now, as we look at root causes behind execution drag, we have clarity, cadence, and accountability. The structural gaps that slow delivery and feasible levels to restore pace. You have root causes of unclear priorities. No matter what you want to do in your department, in your unit, in your agency, in your ministry, if the priorities are unclear, if the people don't know exactly what you want to achieve, it will be difficult. Remember that statement that somebody made. He said it is about proactivity. But no matter how proactive you are, you must have a strong communication framework. What is the essence? To ensure that people understand the direction you're leading them, and there is a buy-in. Okay, there is a buy-in. Number two, we have inconsistent cadence. By inconsistent cadence, we have unpredictable meetings and reviews, or perhaps unpredictable meetings and reviews delay feedbacks. Quarterly reviews occur at the ad hoc stages, and then you have stalling mid-course corrections. So now we have inconsistency in how we treat matters of meetings. We have inconsistency in treating matters of feedback, matters of reviews, even at the delegated proportion, the ad hoc levels. If there is inconsistency, it will affect our leadership strategically. Then you have the diffuse decision rights. Like I said, every level of responsibility must have a level of authority. every level of responsibility must have a level of authority tied to it, to be able to initiate change, to be able to bring up initiatives. They have the limited coaching. These are the root causes of execution drag. Sometimes we have many beautiful initiatives we want to do, but when we don't get the top management buy-in, it becomes a source of concern. Okay, I remember a particular director who really wanted us to train the staff, and I think we've trained them about 3 times. We've trained that particular agency about 3 times. So the head of this agency, he kept writing for training, for the approval of their training budget. It came to a point that I had to call us to come and meet whoever that was in charge of approving that. Okay, we had to organize an executive meeting for that to come to place. We understand that limited resources could be a constraint, but like I will always say, strategic leadership has to do with finding a way out. No matter what the challenge could be, there must be a way out. There must be a way out. Okay, as we begin to round up on this first session, we now look at what we call the leadership North Star. You have purpose, principles, and strategic outcomes. Purpose, principles, and strategic outcome. Please kindly confirm that you can still hear me loud and clear. If you can still hear me loud and clear, please kindly type 11 in the chat room. If you can hear me loud and clear, please kindly type 11 in the chat room. All right. Thank you so much for hearing me. Now, moving on. There must be an alignment of leadership behavior to accelerate value delivery and measurable outcome. Remember, I said that leadership is principally a mindset thing. And that mindset is what influences behavior. And that behavior is what makes someone an example, a role model, and many more. So leadership is primarily aligning first, or perhaps first of all, having a mindset that will infuse a behavior that aligns with the goals, with the visions, with the mission, the core values of the organization. Are we together? So in aligning this behavior, then the first thing we need is purpose. 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 Delivering customer value through bold, accountable leadership. In doing this purpose, then there must be definition of vision, there must be definition of mission, there must be definition of core values, of objectives, of key drivers, and the likes. Then we go to the second one, which has to do with principles. Principles. Leadership must be guided by principles for it to be considered leadership. I think it was Mr. Yahya Suleiman that said, so is it Abu Bakr Yahya or Suleiman? Sorry if I misplaced the name. He said, leadership is about guiding others. If we must guide others, then there must be a guidance framework, and that framework is called principles. 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 Without principles, there is no leadership. Without principles, there will be no order. Okay, without principles, there will be no order. Okay. Then from the principles, we now talk about the strategic outcomes. There must be a future imperative of every action that we take. There must be a future imperative of every action that we take. There must be a future imperative of every action that we take. There must be a future imperative. Okay, there must be a future imperative. Now, with the right strategic leadership in place, part of the things we expect as strategic outcome, we have faster time to market, top line growth in target segment, improved operational efficiency, stronger engagement and retention, among others. Now, based on what I've been saying since, I said that leadership is principally a function of mindset, which gives credence to the behavior. And this behavior is tempered with skills. So no matter how strategic you want to be as a leader, remember, it is the quality of the individual that will determine the quality of the strategy. And it is the quality of the strategy that will determine the quality of the outcomes upon execution. Now, what do we now define as the quality of the individual? The makeup of the quality of the individual is bounded by these three things: the mindset, the behavior, and the skills. Please, can we type these three things in the chat room? Mindset, behaviors, and skills. Mindset, behaviors, and skills. That's the quality of an individual is a function of mindset, behaviors, and skills. Can we type that in the chat room very quickly? Mindset, behaviors, and skills. Thank you so much, Mr. Raf. Mindset, behaviors, and skills. Those of us in the YouTube, I'm also expecting your chat. Mindset, behaviors, and skills. Okay, mindset, behaviors, and skills. Mindset, behaviors, and skills. Now, what mindset do you want to have? Inside mindset has a whole lot of things that it brings in. Every organization has a mindset. It's called organizational behavior. Talk about that last week. We talked about behavior. Then we talked about organizational climate. Sometimes when you walk into your organization, you leave your own mindset behind and work with the mindset of the organization. And that mindset gives birth to the behavior of the organization and gives birth to the culture of the organization. And in a very great way, determines the climate within the organization. The mindset of the leader is what often will bring about the mindset of the organization. Because organization is like a vacuum. It is what we feed into it that it contains. If we want a mindset of excellence, then the leaders must be excellent. If we want a mindset of ownership in mind, then the leaders must show that you can own this vision. If you want a mindset of adaptability, then it will start with you. What is the mindset of the leader? It is the mindset of the leadership that determines the mindset of the organization. Because when we say the mindset of organization, it might look like it is one abstract figure somewhere. No, it is the mindset of the leaders that determines the inculcation, the incubation of the mindset resident in the people within them. That's sometimes you hear people say things like, what will Madam say? What will Oga say? What are they saying? They are trying to give people. They are trying to validate the mindset that have been established by the boss, either man or woman. So, a mindset. And the good thing is, if man is a trainable entity, man, the principle of man's existence is it hinges on continuous learning. So you can take the mindset of your people, training, continuous training, more importantly, through strategic imperatives, strategic leadership imperatives, like coaching, like living the example, living legacy, working with inclusivity, diversity, working with fairness. running with the vision. We tell them that this is what the department is supposed to be doing. Meanwhile, our duties are diverted to what we tell the department. What is the mindset? I want to ask this question. What kind of mindset? In one word, we are going to do something very quick, very quickly. All of us are going to move. We are going to do it. We are in a digital economy or digital system. Okay, so we are going to do integration, and then we'll come back to that. Now, in one word, I want you to write down what kind of mindset. In this case, what kind of culture do you want the people under you to act? In one word, what will that be? So this is what we're going to do. We're going to quickly move to the YouTube family and get them also to be part of it. So every one of us, click on the YouTube link, get to the YouTube, and I want to see your write-up in the YouTube comment section. In one word, what mindset do you want your unit? Do you want your team? Do you want your department? Do you want your agency? In one word, what is the mindset? Click on this link. Let's get to the YouTube. Drop your view in the comment section there, and then we'll be back. Mindset actually determines everything as far as strategic leadership. If the mindset is wrong, that strategic leadership will lead us to negative outcomes. Okay. If the mindset is right and positive, it will bring us to a positive impact. Okay. This is very important. Okay, are we together? So let every one of us get to YouTube and drop that in the comment section. Then you like the video and you come back to it. So we'll take a 2-minute recess. We'll just take a 2-minute recess in doing that. While you're doing that, take a cup of water. Feel free to rejuvenate, and we'll be back. Okay. Okay, so you need to visit the YouTube link and then drop all these comments in the YouTube. Okay, just click on the link that has been shared, then you drop the comments in the YouTube. So while you're dropping the comments, you'll also like the. Okay, somebody says it's not opening. Okay, so from our end, it is opening. Just drop your comment there, and then okay. Okay. So let me read out what I'm seeing there. On the YouTube, I can see from Azubike Ibekwe, he said growth mindset. All right. From Aliyu, he said hardworking. From Amalaha, he said comment not opening. Okay. 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 From Oloyede, he said get to the YouTube, you can just drop your comment and drop a like, and then we move on. So you can always come back to rewatch this video. Thank you so much. So from the class, I see a whole lot of comments. I see okay, so if yours is telling you not enabled, that there is a possibility that you are not logged into YouTube. So you may have to log into YouTube for you to be able to drop a comment. All right. Okay, so let me read out the things we have from the comment section here. We have from Dr. Okay, from Ali. Aliyu, he said hardworking, Godwin, accountability. From Ephraim, say positive mindset that will impart positive change. Amanda, okay. Suleiman, growth. Amanda, growth mindset. See, professional, follow the forward looking, and all of that. So these are possibilities of cultures that we need to ingrain into the people. There are possibilities of cultures that we need to now ingrain. We have an assignment. Every one of us now have assignment on the kind of mindset, okay, on the kind of mindset that we need to impute into organizations. And before we are done in this course, I'm going to show you how to develop assessment template, or behavioral template, okay, that you can use at your own time, either to assess your organization, assess your staff, or as well assess yourself. Now, from mindset, we go to behaviors. Remember, it is mindset that gives birth to behavior, right? For as a man thinks, what he thinks, how he thinks determines how he acts. I will always say that if you think right, you act right. Right mindset will always bring about the right behavior. No matter how the environment might try to disrupt your behavior, there must be consistency of a particular behavior that will tell us a mindset. Okay, that will tell us a mindset. Okay, so we must have behaviors on prioritization, which is focusing on the top 3 objectives, decisive communication, the state of our choices, rationale, and next steps. So our behavior should provide works or provide how we can prioritize things. When we say a team is high performing, a high performing team is actually a function of 2 things: the right mindset with the right behaviors with the right skills. That's a high performing team. A team that has the right mindset with the right behaviors and then with the right skills. That gives birth to what we call a high performing team. So anybody can be changed, any team can become a high performing team if we can work on this, work on their mindset, work on their behaviors, and work on their skills. Okay, so those are the 3 pillars, the capability framework for driving strategic leadership. Whether it is change you want to lead, whether it is innovation you want to lead, whether it is resistance you want to overcome, whether it is people you want to get on the high performing side, all of that has to do with strategic imperatives. And that means you have matters of the mind to deal with, matters of behavior to deal with, and matters of skills to deal with. Please, if this class is, if you think this class is impactful, is adding value to you, can I say you type 100 in the chat room? If this class is adding value, just type 100. If this class is valuable, if this section is valuable, just type 100. 100. Okay, thank you, Mr. Harford, Mr. Obina, Justin, Nkoli. Oh, Nkoli. Oh, Mr. Hawk is in class. Mr. Hawk, you're welcome. Thank you, everyone. All right. Now, quickly, let's look at leadership operating systems. Leadership operating systems. We have the attendance link shared already. Please, as the class is ongoing, take your class. We have 2 attendance daily, one in the morning section and one in the afternoon section. Okay, so please feel free to take attendance. Feel free to take attendance as we proceed. Now, under the leadership operating system, if we were to define what leadership operating system is, if we were to define what, because of time, I may just have to go on. If we were to define what leadership operating system is, just like the way we have operating systems in our organizations, every organization has an operating system, whether you like it or not, whether it is intentional or unintentional, whether it is voluntary or involuntary. And that's one thing about leadership. Leadership can either be intentional or unintentional. Whether you lead intentionally or unintentionally, you're leading. So the best thing is to be decisive in your leadership. The best thing is to be decisive in your leadership. I will repeat this again. Whether you think you are leading or not, whether you know it that you have a leadership operating system or not, you already have. Why? Because there is a way people behave, there is a way people communicate, there is a way people exchange, there is a way people relate. That is already existing leadership framework. Whether it was intentionally built or done unintentionally, it doesn't really matter. The main thing is there is leadership. So in the definition of leadership operating system, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you to put this in mind, because the leadership operating system is more like having a computer operating system. Okay, now look at that statement I put there. The statement I put there is the definition of what we have on the screen. The leadership operating system is the integrated framework of mindsets, behavior, tools, decision-making models, and execution routines that guide how a leader thinks, acts, communicates, and drives outcomes within the organization. So when we begin to look at LOS, leadership operating system, we're asking the question of how is our mindset integrating with our behaviors and is integrating with our skills in order to deliver results. In the class on organizational behavior, the facilitator that was taking that course asked the question during the class. She asked the question of, have you ever been in a situation where you have behavioral change? Okay, so your behavior to certain situations change. So maybe your behavior at home is different from your behavior in the church, different from your behavior in the office. What this is saying is that whether you like it or not, you already have a leadership operating system adapted to your own way of thought as to mindset, your own way of disposition as to behavior, and the availability of skills you have for time to handle leadership positions or leadership situations around you within the environment. Do you get that? Okay, please, I want to confirm that you understand what LOS is. I want you to read what I posted there, and I want you to, in a scale of 35, 50, 75, 100, if you understand LOS, I want you to give me your scale of understanding. Is it 25% understanding? Is it 50% understanding? Is it 75% understanding? Is it 100% understanding? If you understand LOS, please give me your scale. How do you understand? What's your scale of understanding? Is it 25? Is it 25? Is it 50? Is it 75? Is it, let's go. All right, so I have 100%, I have 75%. Can I have more? What's your understanding? Based on my explanation, how can you understand what I've explained about leadership operating system? Is it 5%, 50%, 75%, or 100%? Somebody has 68%. Okay. Okay. So somebody has 100%, which is great, and I love that. And somebody has 50%. So the question of LOS, leadership operating system. Okay, can we all write this in the chat room? Leadership operating. The those in the YouTube, can you write it down? Leadership operating system. Amanda is in my class. Amanda, this is a good one. We are starting with 50% today. I'm sure before this class is over, we'll be to 100%. Okay, so can we all write in the chat room, leadership operating system, leadership operating system. So principally what this is a system that defines how leadership operates. Is it not? This is a system that defines how leadership operates. And now I've established that whether you are intentional about it or you're not intentional, whether you know it or you don't know it, there is already a leadership operating system that exists within your unit, within your family, within your department, within your agency. There is a leadership operating system. And it is not just about the structural framework. It is principally a function of how the mindsets interplay. That is, what is the organizational behavior and how does it interplay with the behavior of the people within the organization, and how does it interplay with the skills available? We have organizations that have very high level skilled persons, but they will tell you, if they are not paying me extra, I won't do that. Whether you like it or not, that is already an existing leadership operating system. Okay, there is a leadership operating system that though they might not know what to do, but they will go the extra length to find out what to do. There's a leadership operating system that when you get into an organization, you know that this organization is an excellent organization. Everywhere is neat. Everything is properly organized. Everyone's dressing is to fit. Everyone is working in ways that you know that these ones have been groomed. Display excellence. So whether we intentionally build leadership into our organizations or not, there is already. So is it that it is voluntarily or involuntary? Is it that you do it intentionally or unintentional? Wherever two or more are, leadership is inevitable. Wherever two or more are gathered together, leadership is inevitable. Is it that we define it or we play into it? Play into it means anything that comes up, we take it like that. And that talks of different models of leadership. Is it that the leadership is transformational in the sense that it is structured, it is planned, and it is implemented in a careful way, or it is contingent? We'll handle the matter as it comes forward. So we either choose to be intentional in our leadership operating system by being transformative in nature or transformational in nature, or we are as it become, we do it. So the leadership operating system, it has these three things in place. Remember, we just spoke about the capabilities, okay? The capabilities framework. The capabilities framework of the mindset, the behaviors, and the skills. So your LOS, your leadership operating system, principally, how do you integrate this? Can you define the right kind of mindset that will give the right kind of behavior then can you define the skills that these people will need in operating in a particular way you want your organization to have reputation in? Okay, so that's what your LOS is discussing. Okay, so your LOS provides the framework of the mindset needed. Of course, we might have not what our vision, our goals, our objective, our mission, our core values are. We must have established and justified those ones before we now come up to ask the question, what mindset is needed to take us to our vision? What behaviors are needed to respect the core values or to work in alignment with the core values? What skills are needed to be able to perform the operation, the tasks in our strategy in order to create the outcomes? So this is more like a competency framework. Your LOS is more like a competency framework that justifies the right mindset needed for with the right behavior, with the right skills needed for the right outcome. So here we have clear decision right, your current review cadence, and the rapid escalation to protect strategy and delivery. To protect strategy and delivery. To protect strategy and delivery. So the first thing there is decision rights matrix. Define who decides, advises, and informs for common decision types. In defining this, that's the question of what will be the mindset of this person, what will be the behavior, and what will be the skills. Well, we put it there. So across the different roles, we have the mindset expected, we have the behavior expected, and the skills expected. And while we are looking at this as well as a new concept, no, it's not a new concept. In your human resource management, when you do with organizational design or structural design of organizations, right? Then you begin to look at things like job design, organizational structures, under organizational structures, you begin to look at job titles, job roles, and then you begin to look at competency framework. Under the competency framework, you are determining what is the right skill for this job, for this role, what's the right behavior, what skills and expectations are we looking at for what qualifications are all of that. That is something you build with your LOS. Okay, that's something you are trying to build with your LOS. But in this case, we have been much more on the basis of creating a culture or creating a system that will drive leadership across the entire system, across the entire organization. So we have number one, the decision rights matrix. Number two, we have the context. How often do you want to have your meetings? How often do you want to have your reviews? How often do you want to have your feedbacks? How often do you want to have your performance appraisals? How often do you want to make sure that you are keeping in check all the procedures that you want to use in achieving right leadership? So are you going to have weekly tactical or bi-weekly cross-functional or quarterly strategic reviews? How do you want to do it? Number three, you have the objectives and the review. You have your objectives and the key result areas. Are they going to be set quarterly with monthly health checks and escalation rules? All of these are still based on the mindset, the behaviors and the skills. Okay. Then you get to the fourth one, you have the escalation parts. How are you going to be escalating? How are you going to be reporting? Okay. Some organizations, junior staff can report directly to the senior management. In some organizations, no, you have to pass through the hierarchical order. So how do you escalate? And then you have the roles and accountability. These are the things in determining the mindset for each role, for each title, for each structure. These are the things that we need to put into place. Now, when we look at this, it provides us a synergy or gives us how these tools play in synergy of decisions, index, and accountability. Okay, the tools of decisions, context, and accountability. Don't leave your team to themselves. Okay. During the organizational behavior class, the facilitator said something. She said, people will not do what you expect. They will do what you expect. People will not do what you expect. They will always tilt to what you expect. They will not do what you expect, but they will do what you expect. Now, your LOC is going to provide that framework of inspection. Whether you are there or not, but people will begin to do their work rather than waiting to be reminded. Rather than waiting to be. Now let's look at strategic prioritization from vision to a focused portfolio. From vision to a focused portfolio. Number one, if you want to move from vision to a focused portfolio, number one, you must have a scoring grid. The strategic prioritization will help you to score your initiatives on the basis of impact, visibility, and risk. Categorize them into growth, efficiency, and enablement. So how do you prioritize? You can use a scoring grid. With using the scoring grid, you can prioritize which one comes with. This the prioritization you're doing based on the initiatives you want. How will they impact on growth, efficiency, and how enabled are you? How empowered is you, or are you and your team to be able to drive? Number three, prioritize initiative with high impact accessibility. Prioritize initiative with high impact accessibility. Drive those ones first. Assess risk mitigation cost for trade-offs. And you have outcome. Focused portfolio aligning with resources to strategic vision and measurable business case. So if you want to prioritize your vision to objective, from vision to focus portfolio, remember you still have to start from your strategy. Inside your strategy, you have your vision, you have your mission, you have your core objective, key result areas, and all of that. Now, with your key result areas, you will now have what you call your key initiative or key programs, which is where you begin to lay your. From your key programs, you begin to score them on the basis of impact, on the basis of growth, and on the basis of enablement. If you're able to do that, then your next assignment is to select initiatives that have high impact, with high impact on growth, high impact on results, high impact on your business, high impact on the vision. The ones you possibly have the higher enablement to do. Okay, and then by doing so, you would have ended up having an outcome, a highly focused, highly prioritized initiative for driving your growth. Okay, now I have the execution playbook. The execution playbook will have your roles, your RACI, which is your roles, assignment, you have your roles, assignment, consulting, and initiative. Okay, roles, assignment, and initiative. And then you have the cross-functional communication. As a strategic leader, you have a playbook. You must have exactly what you want to achieve per time. So your activity could be initiative selection, product launch, operational changes. So if you're having things like initiative selection to determine which of your strategic imperatives you will drive first, your responsibility will be strategy lead. What will be the strategy lead? Then you have your SVP strategy. Okay, then you have your finance and sales, and then all management. Now, using the RAC, sorry, I think RAC, I made a mistake there. RSCI, responsible, accountable, consult, and inform. So on this activity, the question is, who should be responsible for strategy selection or initiative selection rather? So the strategy lead should be responsible for initiative selection. Then you have accountable. Who should be responsible for accountability? You have the SVP strategy. Okay, Senior Vice President strategy. Okay, if you have something like that. Then who should be consulted for initiative? The finance team, the sales team should be consulted. The HR team should also be consulted so that we know if we are empowered enough. And on the informed, all the managers should be informed on the initiative they are taking for time. If you're launching a product, who should be responsible for launch of a product? Product manager. If you are launching a product, you should be accountable. Head of product, who should be consulted? Marketing and operations should be consulted. Who should be informed? Customer success or the customer service unit should be informed of the product we are launching so that you can begin to pre-inform customers. Now, operational changes, who should be responsible for operational changes? The operations lead. Now, the operations lead could vary different on it. Operational lead could be the director, operations lead could be the deputy director, operations lead could be the assistant director. The question is, who is leading change? Who is responsible for leading this change? Okay, so whoever it is should be there. Then accountable, who should be accountable? You have the operating officer. Who should be consulted? The IT and the HR. Who should be informed? And since it's operational, that is at the lowest level. All staff should be informed. Now, this is an example. If you are going to have to use the RSCI model, what would be your own initiative? That's exactly what we want to rule out. So let's assume you as a director have an initiative, okay? And maybe I don't know exactly what initiative, but you have an initiative. And then you have activities under the initiative. Or you want to quickly get responsibilities, or who should be format. This RSCI model can also help you with your stakeholder engagement. Because when you have the RSCI model, you already know who your stakeholders are. With that, you can create a stakeholder engagement. So let's assume you have an initiative, you have a project. So the activities under the project will be listed under the activity. For each of the activities, for each of the phases, who will be responsible, who will be accountable, who will be consulted, and who will be informed. You do that across board. With that, you already have a strategic tool that you can use to manage projects. However, if you're leading strategic projects that will introduce change, the same thing applies. Let's assume as a director, you want to introduce a change, but you don't know how to go about it. You can use your RSCI model and then just write the title of the initiative you want to introduce. And then figure out the activities under it. Look at the activities. And then who should be responsible? Who should be accountable based on the activity? Who should be consulted and who should be informed? Okay. So I'm going to develop a simple RSCI template. I'm going to share it now. So you can use it in your organization, you can for yourself, for your organization, for department, and for your unit. Okay, you can use it in your organization, you can use it for your department, for yourself, for your units, right? Okay. So if you go to the WhatsApp, I'll be sharing it there. Be sharing the template there, and I'm going to now allow for 1 or 2 questions in case there is any aspect of the we've looked at the LOS, the leadership operating system. I'm also going to create that. I'm also going to create that template in a moment, and I will share it with us. Okay, I will share it with us in a moment. So you can find a way to use them when need. Okay, when need be. So what I'm sharing now is a simple RACI model. You can replicate that in a Word document and use for any project. If you want to prioritize the project, you want to select a project, you want to work on a project, you want to lead a change, okay, you can use that. So I'm dropping that. Is it? Let me see. So I won't be able to drop it in the comment section, but you will find it in the WhatsApp group. Let me see if I can log into the WhatsApp group and drop it there. Okay, so while I'm doing that, I would like to know if there are questions, comments, contributions very quickly. Okay, so somebody said the execution playbook is a bit confusing. Explaining it. All right, thank you so much, Mr. Aliyu, for your question. Okay, so the execution framework, the primary tool there is your RACI. Your RACI is an acronym for responsible, accountable, consult, and inform. So if you have a project that you want an initiative you want, the RACI model asks the question of, first, what are the activities in this initiative that I want to lead, in this project that I want to lead? Now, for each of these, for each of the activities, it wants to play it on the basis of who should be responsible, who should be accountable, who should be informed, who should be consulted, and who should be informed. So if ask the question of responsible, accountable, consult, and inform. So if you have a project and you're using the RACI, or you're driving an initiative, a change initiative, and you're using the RACI, so okay, what we mean by responsible, what we mean by accountable, what we mean by consult, and then what we mean by informed. Okay, responsible simply means who will be doing this, who will be doing this work that our RACI, we have mapped it on the RACI on the basis of activity, who will be doing this work. Okay, now who will be accountable? Who will we hold to check to make sure that this work is done? Then who should we consult? Consulting here means, are there levels of advice that we need to pick? Do we need to take advice from someone? Do we need an expert advice? Then on the form, on the basis of the form means who should know about this particular activity? Who should know? So when you're using the RACI framework, you are trying to assess your initiative based on the activities, and then assigning the activities on the basis of who is responsible, who is responsible, who is accountable, who is to be consulted. who is to the form. Now, I'm going to pull out a case study. Let me get a case study, maybe to help. Just a moment. Okay, just a moment. I will get that. Right, so, Mr. Liu. Okay, somebody said you had a technical issue moving. Please, what's the technical issue? All right, what's the technical issue, ma'am, so that we can help? All right, on the basis of 25, from 25% to 25% to 100, please, can you rate your understanding of the execution playbook on the basis of RACI? Please let me know your level of understanding of the RACI. From on a scale of 25% to 100, can you please rate your understanding of how to use the RACI? Okay, so I have 80%, which is a strong pass mark. Okay, can we do that very fast, please, so that I know my position? 75%. Okay. More. I want 90%. Okay. I want to see our view 80%. Okay. I'm still looking at this the performance report. Okay, so there's a question here. What should a subordinate do in a situation where there is a cross-functional and the superior do not respect the execution playbook or reporting system? Okay, so this is now a function of the leadership operating system. So if there is a functional somersault, that means the leadership operating system approved of it. That means it is already existing in the leadership operating system. I have to go back to the leadership operating system to fix it. Okay, I believe you're the one that has the picture. So if we notice challenges of leadership overlap, is basically a function of the leadership operating system. That means we've not been able to dismantle functions accordingly. There are functional overlaps and there are possibilities of activity overlap. So we need to go back to our leadership operating system and make sure that there is no leadership overlap. And if there are possibilities of overlap, remember that leadership is a function of principles. Then we need to create the order. We need to create the order, the principle for that overlap to exist. Okay, so that there will be no somersault. Dr. Raf, does that make sense at all? Okay, Dr. Raf, does the explanation? Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right, so from the review, it seemed everybody understands. Too high. Please, where is Amanda? I need to see Amanda's score. Amanda, please, where is your score? Mrs. Amanda. Okay. I'm trying to get a simple case study, and then we'll use that to run we'll use that to create, just establish our understanding, and then we are good to go. We are good to go in a moment. I pray my screen will be able to get shared on this. This case study I'm trying to share will help us in understanding this RACI, because it's simple and it's straight to the point. Just give me a moment to share it. So if you look at my screen, you will see a case study of digital government services implementation. The scenario here, okay, please can you confirm that you can see the case study on the screen? If you can see the case study, please type 1 in the chat. If you can see the case study, kindly type 1 in the chat. Yes, all the things we are doing here, we are going to share them in the WhatsApp platform, right? Okay, did I say a question there? Can you shed more light on leadership opportunities as there are function overlaps and leadership tools? Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Paul Yahweh. I'm going to come back to that in a moment. Thank you for that beautiful question. Now, look at this. Okay, maybe with this, we'll also be able to create a leadership operating system. Okay, maybe we will use a leadership operating. Use this to also explain the leadership operating system. Okay. So we have the scenario of a ministry of digital transformation. This might not be, this is just abstract. A Ministry of Digital Transformation is launching a new e-government portal to allow citizens to access services online. The project involves multiple departments, IT vendors, policy units, and communication teams. The leadership wants clarity on who does what to avoid delays or miscommunication. Now, if you look at this project, this is a strategic project. The launching of a new e-government portal, that's a strategic project and therefore require strategic leadership. Now, if we are to apply the RACI, this is what it will look like. These are the tasks and activities. Number 1, develop technical platform. Who will be responsible? The IT development team. Who will be accountable? The chief technical officer. That means if this team fails, we are going to hold this person accountable for allowing this team to fail. Who can we consult in this kind of initiative? We have the policy unit and the security unit. Who should be informed? The minister, senior leadership team should be informed. Okay. Then you have activity 2 or phase 2 of this project, drafting policy and compliance guidance. Who is responsible? The policy unit should do that. Integrated. All right. Now, who should be accountable? The permanent secretary should be accountable. If the policy unit does not develop the policy for this e-government portal, then we should hold the permanent secretary responsible because he is the one that will deliver it to the minister at the end of the day. Then who should we consult? The legal and the IT teams. Who should be informed? All departmental heads. Then we have phase 4, test portal functionality. Who is responsible? The IT quality assurance team. Who is accountable? The chief technology officer. Who should be consulted? The users. User experience experts. Citizen advisory board. Who should be informed? Minister. Project steering committee. Then you go down, you have the other activity of launch public awareness campaign. Who should be responsible? Communication unit. Who should be held accountable? Director of communication. Who should be informed? IT team and the policy unit. Who should we consult? Who should be informed? The public and the ministry staff. They have monitor user feedback and performance as an activity. Who should be responsible? Operations and support team. Who is accountable? Director of operations. Who is to be consulted? IT team. And who is to be informed? The minister and the senior leadership team. Okay, so this is an example of how the RACI goes. Okay, and then under it, you see the footer of the meaning of responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. Responsible, those doing the work. Accountable, the owner of the task who ensures completion and approves outcomes. The consulted, stakeholders providing advice, input, or expertise. The informed, that it must be kept updated. Okay, and then you see the usefulness of this case study. The benefit observed in this case study: avoided duplication of work across departments, clear accountability, prevented delays in portal deployment, the decision making become faster and more structured. Stakeholders were aligned and informed throughout the project. The project achieved successful e-government rollout on time. Now, if you even look at this RACI using this case study, you will also see that it has solved the problem of leadership or overlapping roles. Okay, because here it clearly established what each person should be doing and who should be responsible, who should be accountable, who should be informed, and who should be consulted by. Right. Okay, so this is just a case study to further explain the RACI model. One more time, I trust by now we should have a better understanding of it. Does anybody have question around this? Okay, so RACI means responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. So it's a framework that we use to lead initiatives. Okay. All right. Do I have any question? Because I'm about to allow us to go for a break. When we come back for break, we can see from where we stopped. Okay. The attendance link will be shared in the comment in the WhatsApp group. And for those of us that are on YouTube, please ensure that you're also in the WhatsApp group. So I'm going to ask the question: is there anybody here who is not in the WhatsApp group? You are on this call, you're not on the WhatsApp group. Can you type 00 in the chat room? You are on this call and you are not in the WhatsApp, just type 0. Just type 00 in the chat room. Oh, okay. So we're having two WhatsApp groups, one for the public and one for the private. Okay, so I'm going to share the both WhatsApp group. Please kindly join the one that concerns if you're in the private, you join the private. If you're in the public, you join the public. So there are two WhatsApp groups that have been posted right now. Please join the public if you're public and join the private. For those of us on YouTube, also posting the same link. Yeah. Okay, so please make sure you join accordingly. Okay, make sure you join accordingly. So I think you that have exceeded the typing limits on YouTube. Do I have any other questions, comments, contributions? We are now going to go on break. When we come back, we'll have a review of a case study also. After your hand is up, please can I get your question? Please feel free to commit and let's hear from your hand is up.
It's for the WhatsApp group. I'm joining now. It's for the WhatsApp group. I'm not in any of the WhatsApp group. I'm trying to join now. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead, sir.
I said it's for the WhatsApp group. that I'm not the wolf. So I'm trying to join now.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Great. All right. So the attendance link, I think the CRO is somewhere posting the attendance link. Please, CRO, kindly repost the attendance link. Kindly repost the attendance link. Okay. All right. So the attendance link has been reposted. On this front, men and brethren, we'll be going on a short break, and then when we return, we'll continue on our discussion on strategic leadership and innovation management. Okay, okay, thank you so much, and see you by, this is 1:15, so we're going to be back by 2:15. 2:15. So you have 1 hour break. So we'll be back by 2:15. See you by 2:15. Meanwhile, before you go, please, can we have your, how did this class have any impact? Does it have any relevance? If it made sense to you and you think it's worth it, I will need you to type 100 in the chat room. I will need you to type 100 in the chat room. If it's making a whole lot of sense, please type 100 in the chat room. Type 100 in the chat room. And I'm going to drop an assignment in the chat room. I'm going to drop a case study in the chat room. I would like us to work on it, and when we come back, we will look at it together. Remember, if you're not in the WhatsApp group, please use the link that has been shared. Use the link that has been shared to join. Okay, join the public or the private accordingly. All right. Okay, so I'm going to drop a case study in the chat room, and in the next 1 hour, as you relax, I would like us to come up with an RACI for that project or for that initiative, and then we'll discuss it when we come back. Thank you, and see you by 2:15. God bless you. Really good. Bye-bye.